I don't want to get out of bed. It's 6:45. I've been up for 2 hours already. Just watching TikTok. I thought I heard Oliver fall out of bed. It was the dog. It was the dog jumping down from the bed. But it woke me up. And now I have to go get ready to be basketball mom.
Near me. And then he got up and started walking towards the edge of the bed. What side? The left side?
You want coffee?
Yes, please.
Towards the desk. How close was he to the desk? I think it was like in between the gray pillow and the desk.
I have no content for today. Oops. I was considering just making day 3 and 4 vlogs like one video, but here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna discuss my November wrap-up. Yeah, here's what I read in November. And because I am so tired, and I don't feel like holding up books, plus I don't really actually have all that many to hold up. Only I think 1 or 2 actually came off of my own shelves. And I also don't feel like inserting a bunch of photos and editing. I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you my computer. Hopefully that'll work and not be like frame jumpy. We're gonna try. Why am I so tired? After Owen's, okay, so remember I woke up at 4 because I thought Oliver fell out of bed. He did not. It was the Chihuahua jumping out of bed. I still don't know how he made such a loud sound for a small dog. Anyway, stayed awake. Owen's basketball game at 8 a.m. was so intense. Went into a 2-minute overtime period. They play 2 halves. They don't play quarters. They play 2 halves, and then they did a 2-minute overtime because it was tied, and it was just like 1 point, like back and forth. And there was this one kid on the other team that like the only way to keep him from scoring was to foul him, but if he got to the free throw line, he was sinking them. And oh my gosh, it was such a crazy game. And like, they're 10 and 11 years old. I should not get this worked up, but like, it was such a good game. I'm so proud of my boys. After that, I went up to the City Angels baseball facility in New Haven because today started the winter workouts. I knew it. Nate had taken the kids out, and I fell asleep on the couch, and I knew the second I started recording they would get home. Yay. Anyway, so Oliver also had a basketball game that I missed, and so basketball is very different from baseball. So he was tired afterwards, and he did not want to go to the winter workouts today. But I had to go to do some administrative stuff with Millie because apparently I'm like a team mom now, and I help with things. And so me pretending to be that social, get the work done kind of person, that's not me. And that's exhausting. So when I got home, I was just like overwhelmed by everything. Nate took the kids out, and I dozed on the couch. Here we are. Let's get books. Ready? Okay. Okay, here's Storygraph. Looks like I read 9 books over the month. Not bad. Most of them were reflective, emotional, or dark. All right. Informative, sad, challenging, and then a little slice of adventurous. The first thing I read was One Beat at a Time. This was a memoir by Beverly Littlethunder, told orally to Sharon Prue Turner, who wrote it down. I believe she was a Lakota woman. Yes, Lakota. She starts with her childhood and goes all the way into being kind of exiled after she comes out as a lesbian. And the book follows through her adulthood up until establishing the only all-women Sundance in the world in the Green Mountains of Vermont. With this memoir, I learned about the American Indian movement. I don't think I really had heard of AIM before that. And I definitely want to learn more about it in the way that I learned more about the Black Panther movement last year after encountering it in other stories. There's a lot that we aren't taught in our American history system. This one, I believe it's called, well, pronounced Bedaine. I listened to it. This was like a prose poetry sort of book. A young Indigenous girl in Canada moves into the city and deals with addiction. Very dark. Didn't love it. Firekeeper's Daughter. Absolutely loved. This was great. The beginning I found slow. But then it really picks up, especially towards the end. And it's about a half Ojibwe, half white young woman who ends up investigating a drug ring within her tribal community. I think if you like Beartown, but want a female Indigenous voice, it's a very similar structure kind of story. Like, it has a lot of similar elements, but obviously a different voice. Highly recommend. Then I read this comic on my phone. I hate doing that, but the bonus prompt for the Skoda and Readathon was a graphic novel, and so this is by Stephen Graham Jones. It kind of reminds me of Stephen King's 11/22/63, in which a man goes back in time to prevent a major historic event. So in this case, they're going back in time to kill Columbus. Says it, title. See. Flight by Sherman Alexie. This was another kind of time jumpy book. But it was time jumpy and body jumping. A young-ish teenage boy in the foster system, actually running away from the foster system, goes to shoot up a bank, becomes injured, and then he just keeps waking up in different bodies, and through those experiences learning compassion and experiencing major events in Native American history. 5 Little Indians by Michelle Good. I listened to this on audiobook. It was devastating, and it deals with adult characters who have survived Canadian residential schools and just the toll that they carry with them for the rest of their lives from the trauma they experienced in those schools. Gorgeous multi-perspective story. Him Standing by Richard Wagmes was really fast. Look at rapid reads. That's, I guess, whatever little imprint about a spirit mask carver. And through carving masks, he kind of unlocks this like ancient shaman, and it's kind of a possession story. Has to deal with being disconnected from tradition and history and the danger that puts the Native people at, or the danger it puts them in, because they're at risk of being used without knowing their history. Kapaimahu. This is a Hawaiian indigenous story, legend about the non-binary kind of gender fluid healer gods who traveled to the island, and then what happens over time and with colonization and the separation from the idea of the mahu, or I guess that's their term, like two-spirit term, mahu, how that is no longer associated with healing and wisdom. So that was interesting. The author themselves is mahu. And then for my book club, I read The Invited. I ended up finishing it on the day that the book club met. Weather was awful, so we kind of split up, and some people met at the restaurant and the rest of us met on Zoom. It was a decent conversation, but yeah, everyone liked the book. Definitely had me guessing. I thought I figured stuff out, and there were some twists that I was okay with until we discussed the twists in book club, and then I was realizing like, oh, actually, yeah, maybe that wasn't great. So this is the page on Storygraph for the Skoden Readathon Challenge. It lists all the different prompts, and you could see, I completed all the prompts. So for the queer or two-spirit rep, Kape Mahu and one beat at a time. For the Omau book cover, which is a book with red, blue, yellow, or black on the cover to represent the Hopi cloud symbol, Flight, and Firekeeper's Daughter. Beyond the lower 48 books by Indigenous authors from nations other than the mainland United States. Bidaine is Canadian, Five Little Indians Canadian, and Kape Mahu is Hawaiian. Short stories, Him Standing and Bidaine. Short story versus or poetry. The 7-day challenge. Over 7 days, I read from Braiding Sweetgrass, which I'm still slowly working on, Five Little Indians, Flight, Earth Divers, and The Firekeeper's Daughter. I read nothing written by non-Indigenous authors over the course of a week. Authors I had not read before, basically all of them. And then the children's prompt was Kape Mahu. That was a picture book. And for the Stephen Graham Jones, Rendon or Wyden, read a horror, mystery, or thriller prompt. Horror, mystery, thriller. Nonfiction, I didn't finish Braiding Sweetgrass, but that is nonfiction. Nature writing, and One Beat at a Time was a memoir, and the bonus prompt was a graphic novel. So I just plugged all the books into wherever they fit, and so that's why there's multiple for each prompt. Are you still here? That was terrible content. I wasn't even watching through my phone, so we'll see how that came out. I apologize. That is all I have energy for. And I guess that wasn't Nate. That must have been the neighbor, because my children have not re-entered the home. Christmas tree tomorrow. More baseball tomorrow. Oliver will be participating in winter training tomorrow, and I have to be there to live stream a raffle drawing. I love it. I love being busy. I love pushing myself outside of my comfort zone and like stepping up to fill a need. His baseball club is a nonprofit organization doing good work in the underprivileged New Haven community. But it's taking a lot out of me because I am a lazy homebody who doesn't like to socialize. So wish me luck. And I will see you tomorrow.